Some things caught on camera can be explained. Today's clips aren't one of them, from objects moving with no one near them, to chilling footage with disturbing endings. This footage makes no sense. A teenager was filming inside a basement packed with oversized clown and doll figures. She joked around, posed for the camera, and walked past rows of lifeless toys. But when she watched the footage later, one detail made her stop. In the background stood a Joker figure unlike the rest. Its face more detailed, its eyes strangely focused on her. The way it stood didn't feel like a prop at all. Some viewers think it might have been a person in disguise, while others believe something far creepier was lurking in that basement.
Alright, that's about as raunchy as I'm gonna get.
Demonic patient. A young woman was taken to the hospital by her family, thinking she only needed routine treatment. Everything seemed normal, until security footage was reviewed later. In the video, the doctor and nurse were discussing her condition when she raised her hand toward a nearby table. A medical tool slid across the surface and into her grasp, almost as if it moved on its own. Neither staff member appeared to notice. But once the clip reached the internet, it set off a wave of debate, with viewers arguing whether this was an unexplained ability or just a trick no one had caught at the moment. Crawling figure. She sat curled on the floor, silent, eyes fixed on the hallway. Something in the shadows had her attention. Then, just barely visible, a figure crawled forward, long, tangled hair sweeping the floor, face glowing an unnatural red. It moved on all fours, slow and deliberate, without a sound. She didn't scream, didn't run, only stared, lips pressed tight. Viewers couldn't tell if it was staged, but the terror in her eyes told another story. Whatever it was, she wasn't acting, and it was getting closer. Disturbing stream cameo. It was just another casual Instagram live stream, laughing, chatting, answering comments. But then viewers started flooding the chat with the same urgent message. Look behind you. At first, he brushed it off, thinking it was a prank, but curiosity won, and he turned his head. Right there, just inches away, was a pale, girl-like face staring back at him. His smile vanished as he froze, unsure if it was real or a trick of the light. In that moment, the easygoing stream turned into something far more chilling, and everyone watching knew they'd just seen something they'd never forget. Mall Pram Mystery. In June 2020, staff at the Chengdu Star City shopping mall arrived for their morning shift and were met with something they couldn't explain. A pram that was in the middle of the floor. Curious, they went straight to the security footage, and what they saw gave them chills. The clip shows the mall completely empty late at night, long after closing. Yet somehow, the pram begins rolling across the room on its own. A few seconds later, the doll inside also moved on its own. In Chinese folklore, spirits are often said to linger when they've been wronged. Could this be one of them caught on camera? Or was there another explanation hiding just out of view? Let me know in the comments below. Faceless encounter. Late one night near the Appalachian Mountains, two friends were driving along a quiet stretch of road when they spotted something strange.
Wow, dude, who is that? It's 31 degrees outside.
A woman walking right down the middle of the lane. One of them slowed the car, thinking they should check on her or at least warn her to move. But the closer they got, the more he regretted it. Something about her appearance was deeply wrong. Some say it was her face, or the fact that she didn't seem to have one at all. The friends didn't stick around to find out. They hit the gas and drove out of there.
Get the out, go, get the out, go, what? Get the out, go, what?
The blinking stranger. It was late when he pulled over on a deserted road. That's when a woman approached his car. She said her child was home alone and asked for a ride, but something about her felt off. Her eyes never blinked. Her smile stayed frozen, uneasy. He drove away without a word. Soon after, strange things began happening in his home. The worst was a night when a small decorative figure suddenly flew at him and clamped onto his foot. It wasn't alive. So how did it attack? He's certain it all traces back to that night and that woman.
What the What the
Walking stool. In this clip, a man kept on hearing faint noises from the basement, soft enough to ignore at first. But over time, the sounds grew louder, almost rhythmic. One night, curiosity pushed him to take his phone and investigate. When he reached the bottom of the stairs, he saw it, a wooden stool moving slowly across the floor. It didn't tip or slide. It stepped, like it had invisible legs. That was enough. He turned and ran back up the stairs, leaving the basement in complete silence once again. Eerie mascot. A mere minute in length, this video of a man sitting in a room, weeping, eating soup, appeared on the internet as the blank room soup. The two characters in the frame add more mystery and terror to the clip. The video was actually posted on the dark web and allegedly has a very disturbing backstory. This guy was taken away along with his wife and were moved to an unknown location, after which his wife was unalived and used to preparing this soup. The guy was then told to drink the soup. That might not seem true, but the way the man was reacting and behaving, it still suggested something sinister was at play here. Unnatural lady.
Yo, I think we're seeing some aliens.
A viral clip showed a woman standing in a public area, but the closer the camera zoomed, the stranger it became. Her lips began moving in ways no human mouth should, stretching, reshaping, and twisting like soft clay. The unnatural motion looked almost alive on its own. Some viewers dismissed it as camera distortion, but others were convinced it was something far stranger, possibly proof of a shapeshifter caught in broad daylight. The footage has since been slowed down and analyzed countless times, yet no one has been able to explain the bizarre, inhuman movement.
Are they, Nick?
Whoa, it's moving so weird, Tessa.
Unwelcome guest. The couple had just moved in and wanted to show off their new home. They stood outside, filming a cheerful clip to send to friends. But later, when they played it back, something caught their eye. Behind the front door, half hidden in the shadows, stood a tall figure with long, dark hair and glowing eyes, completely still, completely silent. They hadn't noticed it at the time, but it had been watching them the whole time. That discovery turned their happy housewarming video into something far more unsettling. Tapping hands. During a late hospital shift, a nurse began hearing soft knocking coming from an empty patient room. Curious, he pulled out his phone and started recording. On camera, faint hands could be seen tapping from inside the window, but when he opened the door, the room was silent and completely empty. There was nowhere for anyone to hide, yet the tapping had been real. The strange moment lasted only seconds, but the clip has been shared countless times since. Creepy old building. At the far edge of town stood a building no one had entered in years. Its windows were broken, its walls weathered, and yet it seemed to watch the street around it. One evening, a man decided to step closer. As he circled the entrance, a sharp sound cut through the air, high, uneven, and nothing like a voice he'd ever heard. It wasn't quite a scream, but it carried the same weight, freezing him in place. The sound faded, but the uneasy feeling stayed. Fridge figure. A group of friends were casually hanging out when one began filming with a new camera. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But when one of them walked into the kitchen and bent down to open the fridge, the camera caught a pale, ghostly figure gliding behind the door. He paused, looked around, but saw nothing. Nobody noticed anything that night. Only the footage later revealed the figure hiding in plain sight. Unexplainable footage. A nurse named Nana shared some unsettling footage from inside a hospital room that's been creeping people out. She works the night shift and says there's one room where the call light goes off over and over during the night, but every time the staff checks, it's completely empty. Wanting answers, Nana set up a camera in the empty room and let it run. What it caught is strange. The bed starts moving on its own, adjusting up and down as if someone invisible was lying there. Sure, it could be a faulty bed, but the way it moves doesn't really look like a glitch. There's also no shadow or sign of anyone nearby who could have been operating it remotely. Birthday mystery. It was supposed to be a sweet moment. The family gathered around a cake, smiling, singing, recording everything.
Happy birthday to you.
But as the girl leaned forward to blow out the candles, they went out instantly, without her even trying. People froze for a second, but no one screamed. Their calmness almost felt like they knew something else was there. No one admitted to blowing them out, and no trick candles were found. The family never revealed what they really believed happened, but the look on their faces suggested they had their own theory, one they preferred to keep to themselves. Vanishing ghost. It started with a strange, playful laugh coming from the kitchen, a sound far too cheerful for the middle of the night. A man who was home alone followed it, torn between fear and curiosity. In the corner, just behind a shelf, he caught sight of another child peeking at him, but when he stepped closer, the figure vanished without a sound. There were no footsteps, no open doors, just silence. When the footage was later reviewed, no one could explain who the child was or where he went. Shadow hallway creeper. Alone at work late at night, he noticed movement at the far end of the hall. A figure peeked from behind a wall, then vanished. Moments later, it leaned out again, still watching. At first, he assumed it was someone playing a prank, but the longer he stared, the stranger it seemed. Its eyes were too dark, its head tilted too far to one side. The way it moved felt wrong. Then, just as quickly as it had appeared, it was gone. That building has since earned a chilling reputation. No one likes staying there after dark. Mysterious ambulance clip. During a late-night shift, two paramedics noticed something felt wrong with their ambulance. They stopped in the middle of the road when one spotted a strange face in the rearview mirror.
So as we driving back to base, I swear I seen a face in the rearview mirror.
Panicked, he jumped out. When he went back to shut off the engine, a whisper came from inside. "I am alive." That was enough for him to drop his phone and run. Minutes later, he returned for it, but the unease never left. Both described it as one of the eeriest experiences of their careers, something they couldn't explain no matter how many times they thought about it. Shifting shadows. He was live on stream, laughing at a comment, when something in the background quietly moved. The door behind him creaked open, inch by inch, as though someone was pulling it from the other side. He turned, puzzled only to see an empty hallway. Then the lights began flickering in rapid bursts, almost rhythmic, like something was tampering with the power. On his desk, a pen slid across the surface, followed by a small box shifting on its own. He leaned closer to the camera, trying to stay composed, but the tension on his face gave him away.
I don't think we needed any sleeper.
The chemical neighbor. For weeks, a family who welcomed a new member to their family had been complaining about a strange chemical smell in their home. Finally, the father installed a hidden camera outside their front door. The footage shocked them. It showed their neighbor, zooming Lee, crouching down and injecting liquid into a small crack beneath the door. Police lab tests confirmed it was a mix of methadone and hydrocodone, both strong opioids. Authorities said the motive seemed linked to noise complaints. The family called it a deliberate act of revenge. Thankfully, police arrested Lee before anything worse could happen. Strange hallway visitor. An elderly woman was at home alone when something strange appeared in the doorway.
Ain't nobody in the other room. Look at this.
From the shadowed hallway, a small creature seemed to be peeking in at her. She had no pets, and her house was locked. There were no sounds, no signs of forced entry. When she later shared the footage online, she claimed it could have been a skinwalker. Others weren't so sure, but the stillness of the figure and the darkness behind it made the moment unsettling for anyone who watched.
This house is haunted. There's something in the other room.
Live TV disappearance. During a live news broadcast, a reporter stood in the street delivering the day's headlines. In the background, a man walked casually past the camera, but just a few steps in, he suddenly vanished, right in the middle of the shot. There were no nearby alleys, no objects to hide behind, and no visible cuts in the footage. The broadcast carried on without mention of the strange moment, but when viewers spotted it on replay, it became one of the most puzzling clips shared online. Haunted switches. Late at night, security cameras at Anwar-ul-Ulum College of Education in Hyderabad, India caught something strange. The building lights began flickering on and off in an odd, steady pattern. There were no power cuts, no storms, and no one anywhere near the switches. Staff later confirmed there was no electrical fault at all. To them, the incident wasn't a glitch. It was a paranormal activity. The footage quickly spread online, and while some insisted it had a technical cause, others believed the lights were being controlled by something unseen. Shapeshifter sighting. A man was walking down a quiet path when a strange shift in his movements caught the camera's eye. His body suddenly bent at an unnatural angle, something no normal person could do. In just seconds, his form changed completely. And standing there wasn't a man anymore, but a dog. The animal bolted down the path, leaving no sign of the person it had been. The clip spread fast online, with many calling it a possible shapeshifter caught in broad daylight. Others dismissed it as clever editing, but no one can agree on what really happened. Unseen force. Security footage from a quiet building captured two eerie events back to back. First, a large glass wall suddenly shattered. No one nearby, no object striking it. Just moments later, a wheelchair began rolling on its own, gliding through the hallway before exiting into the empty night. A guard saw the movement from a distance but didn't approach, watching in uneasy silence as the chair disappeared from sight. Both incidents were caught clearly on camera. With no explanation for how they happened, many viewers believe the building might be home to more than just its regular late-night staff. Vanished tiny cryptid. A group of friends were messing around in a room, laughing and filming each other. One of them ran across the space, while another held the camera, catching every moment. But hidden in the middle of the footage was something no one expected. A small, human-like figure darting across the background. It moved so fast it almost blended into the shadows. The friends only noticed it later while re-watching the clip. Soon after, the video disappeared online without any reason given. Those who saw it before it vanished are still left wondering what exactly they witnessed. Mysterious window figure. A woman was filming the street outside her home, and at first, nothing seemed unusual. She glanced through the glass and saw no one there, but when her camera caught the reflection in the window, a figure appeared sitting beside a parked car. She turned to look in real life. Nothing.
That is insane. Look, it's just disappeared.
The strange figure was visible only in the reflection, never outside, and then disappeared just as quickly. Although the video has its critics, nothing has been proven so far. Moving bike. Security footage from a calm street corner showed two bikes parked side by side. For a while, nothing happened until one of the bikes slowly rolled forward on its own. It wasn't pushed, and there was no wind or slope to explain it. The other bike stayed perfectly still, while the moving one kept going until it toppled over near the edge. Mysterious CCTV footage. In October 2024, TikTok user Johannan1 posted security footage that's been giving viewers chills. He says it was just a regular, rainy day working alone in a small, quiet store. Nothing unusual, until he suddenly felt a strange weight tugging hard at the back of his jacket. At first, he thought maybe something had been thrown at him, so he spun around expecting to see someone, but the shop was completely empty. Still unsettled, Johan decided to check the store's CCTV to see what happened. On the footage, you can clearly see his hood and even the fabric of his shirt being pulled backward by something completely unseen. The pull looks almost gentle on camera, but Johan insists it was far stronger and more unnerving in the moment. When the video hit TikTok, some got convinced it's real paranormal activity, while skeptics admit they can't find a solid explanation. To this day, the invisible tug remains a mystery. Invisible flip. A sharp-eyed Redditor, Killing Time 64, recently spotted something unusual in an old episode of The Andy Griffith Show. It's not exactly paranormal, but it's definitely left viewers scratching their heads. In the clip, two actors step out from a doorway when, out of nowhere, something small falls from above. The uploader suggested it looked like a cigarette butt, but there's no clear source. No crew member, no prop, nothing in sight. The odd part is the timing. Whatever it was dropped right as the actors entered frame, almost like it was intentional. Or maybe just an eerie coincidence. The original poster didn't claim it was supernatural, but admits they can't explain it either. Backyard apparition. Security footage from a quiet backyard caught a pale, shadow-like figure moving slowly across the grass. Its outline was hard to define, but it didn't seem human. Above it floated a faint, glowing ring, almost like a halo. The shape kinda moved without making any sound before fading into the night. No one had been outside, and there were no lights or effects that could explain it. Hallway shadow. A hospital video recently caught attention for its unsettling detail. A nurse was casually filming her colleague during a quiet shift when something strange appeared in the background. In the corridor, a shadowy figure moved slowly, its shape unclear and unlike any staff member. The nurse spotted it and quickly told those nearby. Within moments, everyone quietly left the area, leaving the hallway empty. No one has since explained who or what was walking there that night. Parking lot footage. One quiet night, a California homeowner received a motion alert from their security system. Checking the feed, they saw a faint, humanoid figure walking between the parked cars. It didn't match any neighbor, and it didn't move like an animal. But before they could see more, the figure faded into the darkness. The street stayed still, and nothing else seemed unusual except for what the camera had just captured. Ghost on bench. The ghost of a woman in white was caught on camera sitting on a bench in Central Park, New York. just a few months ago. There is a disturbing story behind this as well, but the details are very mysterious to say the least. This woman, identified to be Zoe Madison, had allegedly gone missing at the start of this year, only to come back 3 days after the missing report was found. And then, a month later, she passed away in the park. This footage of her was filmed just 5 months ago. Shadow in hallway. Inside an abandoned building, a lone explorer set up cameras to capture anything unusual. Later, while reviewing the footage, one shot revealed something unexpected. In the far corner of a dim hallway, a faint blur drifted across the frame. It wasn't shaped like a person, just a shifting shadow that glided silently through the dark before disappearing. Man taken away. Late at night, two friends walked along a quiet, empty street. Their voices echoed softly in the still air, until something happened that made the footage hard to believe. Without warning, one of them shot straight upward, vanishing into the dark in less than a second, as if yanked by something above. His friend froze for only a moment before sprinting away. Seconds later, the missing man dropped back down in the exact same spot. He sat there motionless before quickly getting up and running too, leaving the street just as empty as before. Invisible force. In Colombia, a man slowly climbed the steps to a quiet home. For a few moments, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Then, without warning, something struck the doorway with incredible speed, sending him flying backward onto the ground. He sat there in shock, unable to process what had just happened. Viewers later tried to freeze the footage to see what hit him, but the object seemed to appear out of nowhere, moving too fast for the eye to catch. Creepy ghost hunter footage. A ghost hunting team set up a camera in an old, abandoned house, hoping to catch something unusual.
Katie's here. She's going to sit on the floor. We've got a chair here. We're going to put
One member sat quietly near the staircase, staying on a video call with the rest of the team. Then, from the darkness beneath the stairs, a dark hand slowly reached into view. She quickly grabbed the camera, trying to capture it.
Go now.
But just as suddenly as it appeared, the hand was gone. The stairs were empty, but the air felt heavier than before. Demon on camera. Two men went searching for the supernatural after hearing rumors about an abandoned brick shack near Medina, Saudi Arabia. Locals claimed it was haunted by the vengeful spirit of an old woman who once lived just outside town. Inside, the first thing they spotted was a voodoo doll shaped like a young boy, surrounded by small candles. They set up their ghost hunting gear, and at first, the EMF meter stayed silent. Then, without warning, it spiked wildly. That's when they heard a woman's voice. She was right outside the window, staring at them. But before they could react, she disappeared into thin air. Today's subscriber pick is really unbelievable. How does something like this even happen on camera? This video is disturbing to say the least. Watch what happens near the end, and the way the story unfolds has left people sick to their stomach. The cameraman was shooting a cinematic video of nature when he saw some unknown individual entering a house that he thought was abandoned. Inside, everything looked old, broken, and rusted. A person wearing a cloak was seen with a mysterious bag on the floor, and later, the cloaked person was caught dumping the same bag in the middle of the woods, and inside the bag was something horrifying. Here it gets even more frightening. This was a short film that was uploaded on dark web, and some say it was a continuation of this clip that you're seeing right now.